everyone, welcome to a 20-minute hips and hamstrings focused flow. You don't need any blocks or props, but if you would like to use straps, then that is great as well. If you have really tight hamstrings, then you may want to grab some straps for this one. Otherwise, we'll just go through kind of a daily practice that you can do to loosen up those tight hips and hamstrings. Let's get to it. We're gonna start on the mat. Sukhasana, so going into a cross-legged position. If you would like to prop yourself up with a bolster or block, and I recommend that you do, it'll go underneath your seat. If you have those tight hips right off the bat, so you may want to prop yourself up. We're going to start by taking the hands onto the knees, and we're going to round the spine. And then we're going to lift the chest and pull the shoulders back. Exhale, round the spine, and inhale, lift the chest. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Arms reaching up, and then we'll twist to the right side by taking the left hand onto the right knee. Now looking over the shoulder here, lift nice and tall. Let's release, switching sides, arms reach up first, exhale to the other side. And then releasing. Arms reach up, inhale, and then exhale, we're going to fold forward. So here's where that block would come in handy, because if you were really tight, you would be rounding the spine and you would be using a lot of your ab muscles. So prop your bum up with something, and then you can reach more forward and get into those hips in a deeper level. Walk your hands over to the right side, bowing to the right knee. Over to the other side, left side. And then come back to center, coming back up. Okay, bringing the feet in front of you, and then we're just going to do these windshield wiper type motions here. So your hands can come back behind you, like I'm showing, and then just dropping the knees left and right. So kind of putting those hips into your internal external rotation as you're doing that. Warming the hips up. Okay, now moving into a 90-90 position. Right shin forward and the left shin back behind you. I'll just kind of face at an angle position so that you can see. So the right shin, if you're facing the front of your mat, the right shin will be parallel to the top edge of your mat. And then the back leg is going to be more in a 90 position. So avoid bringing the heel in towards your bum. You want to splay the foot out so that the leg is in a 90-degree position as best as you can. Okay, so first facing your front leg here, and we're going to lean forward enough so that you feel the stretch. Think about pushing your knee into the floor as best as you can. This right knee in front of you, think about drawing it into the floor. This right foot is flexed, keep it in a flexed position. Okay, and then we're going to release it and go to the other side. Again, just checking your position here. If you are leaning way far over, then you will prop yourself up with a block, or maybe you just need a cushion or pillow underneath your help you feel a little more stable. Otherwise, you can use your hands to help stabilize you as well. So when you are ready, you're just leaning forward as far as you feel comfortable in this position. Think about pressing this back of the knee, outer edge of the left knee down to the floor, keeping your left foot flexed. Take another deep breath in and out. And then slowly rise back up. All right, so from here, we're going to go into a tabletop position. So hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Move the hips around, move the shoulders around also. Circle motions. You can just kind of unlocking the hips here as we go. So think of big motions, especially focusing on the hips moving out to the left side, right side. Okay, now move the hips to the left side. Just kind of pull that outer edge of the hip to the left and also pull back. And if you want to reach your arms a little more forward or more out to the right side as your side hip is pulling it to the left, then that will increase the intensity of the stretch. The stretch you should feel, it should be on the outer edge of left side, the hip flexor, and then we'll go to the other side. So we're pulling back to the right, not all the way, so you're not sitting on your heels by any means, but you're leaning to the right side, but pulling back. And just breathing into that sensation you feel, and then releasing from there. So one of my all-time favorite poses and very common pose, downward facing dog, which is excellent for hamstring flexibility. If you have wrist issues in downward facing dog, I will use the blocks as I have them anyways. You're going to do this. You're just going to hold on to the blocks for your downward facing dog, or you are holding on to an ottoman or a bench on top of a chair that is even higher, and you can take that weight off your wrists. Otherwise, if you are fine, and you will build that strength in your wrist with proper focus on the muscles that you're using. So press them into the knuckle mounts of the hands. Make sure the fingers are spread nice and wide. And using the strength of your fingers, using the strength of your hands, as well as your wrists to build that strength, stretching it out. So you're going to keep pulling the hips back, and you can walk the feet back as well. Okay, let's bend just into the right knee. Left leg is straight. So focusing on that left leg, that left heel reaching down to the floor. The stretch should feel like it's at the butt, the heel moving up through your calf muscle, and then back of your knee right up to the hamstring there. And then switching sides. So left knee is bent and the right leg is straight. Breathe and then releasing. Stepping forward to the top of the mat. Circle around those wrists here. As you're folding forward, you're still going to stretching out your hamstring. Even if you're up here, keep circling around the wrist. Your knees do not have to be totally locked out, by the way. You can have kind of bent knees, loose knees here if you wish. And I definitely recommend that if you haven't had really much of a warm-up at all. Coming back to the top of the mat and rising up all the way. So we're going to reach up above the head here and then floating all the way down forward. Inhale halfway, lift, and then exhale, hands to the floor. Step your right foot back, drop your right knee to the floor. Lift your left arm to the sky. placing your left hand down to the floor. Lift your back knee up off the floor and straighten your right leg as best as you can, and try to keep holding that straight. Really engaging, think about engaging through the glute muscles as well here to help that stretch. Release the knee back onto the floor and then straighten out through the front leg. And then we're just going to kind of floss back and forth. So we're going to come forward into a lunge and then pull back into the hamstring stretch, into half monkey split. Come forward into lunge and then come back. Come forward into lunge. Just using your hands, and if you can't touch the floor here, you're just holding onto the blocks and you're going as far as you need to forward and as far as you need to back. Definitely recommend a cushion if you have any knee injuries here. Your cushion would be underneath the right knee there. Okay, so holding in that half monkey split position here, and you can sit right back onto your heel if available. But again, if you are tight in those hamstrings, it's more likely that you will be here or even higher up. As best as you can, you're holding on to the foot, and again, you can use the block underneath your right hand if you're holding on to the foot with your left hand. Okay, releasing from there into a lunge. Walk your left foot out to the left and holding that position, hands on the inside part of your left foot. Lift your right knee, again, off the floor. So really activating that right leg. Pushing out through the heel. If you are flexible enough, then you may be able to drop down from this high lizard lunge position to down to your forearm. So maybe your left or your right forearm comes down very easily. Maybe you're working on your left forearm. But again, very intense if you're in the high lunge position. So your back leg is active, so you're actively putting yourself into the stretch, much deeper than if your knee is relaxed on the floor. Take another deep breath in and out. And then you can release and relax that back knee down onto the floor. To come out nice and gently, we're just going to rock over to the right, and then take the left leg, just bring it back behind you so that you're in tabletop position. Let's go to downward facing dog. Walk it out. Second side, step your right foot forward, left knee down to the floor, and then right away we'll just open up here, reaching up through that right arm. And then releasing down. Okay, and then coming back and forth from lunge to half monkey split. So we're going to pull back, move forward. And again, if you have a knee issue on this other side, this left knee, since it's taking some load, you are cushioning it. Maybe putting just a blanket underneath will help with that sensitivity. Okay, and then coming forward into the lunge, and then just going into a regular active lunge. So we're going to lift the back knee above the floor. So pushing through the left heel, my hands are on the floor, but again, if you need to have blocks to help you, then that's excellent as well. So it might just help make everything feel better. And those blocks. Keep breathing through it. Again, trying to just focusing on really activating this left leg, just in the short term. And then releasing the knee down to the floor, and then coming back and holding this half monkey split position. And again, you can use the blocks. You can hold on to the toes, pull the toes back. If you have a strap at home, you would put the strap around the sole of the foot, and you would be more here, and you would hold on to the strap like I'm miming right now. So holding onto the strap, you wouldn't likely be folding forward, because if you would, then you would be flexible enough to reach your toes. So yeah, you can do that at home if you have a long sock that works, or a scarf that works as well. Alright, so come on forward and then walk the hands on the inside part of your right foot. Now walk your right foot out to the right. Now activate again, lift your back knee up off the floor and really push. So you look back and see if your knee is kind of bent, then maybe you're not reaching back enough, far enough. So you want to kind of create that mind muscle connection. Think of the back of the knee lifting up, and then you will kind of feel your muscles connect a little bit more. Or you can think about your kneecap lifting right up into your quadricep muscle. So your quadricep muscle should feel like it's kind of burning. So that's a good sign that as well you are putting enough activation into this pose as well. So what we're doing here is engaging, trying to engage your glute muscles as well to stretch your hip flexors on your right side. So activating your left side so that the right side can relax a little bit more, and that is the idea behind that. Breathing into that, take another deep breath in, and exhale, you can release. And then we're going to just gently rock to the left, swing the right leg out to the right, and your tabletop position to downward facing dog. Walk it out. Walk your feet wide, and then we're going to walk back into a squat. One of my all-time favorite hip opener positions, and most people can do it unless, again, you do have some knee injury and you can't go down so far. Maybe you were here, but starting somewhere, just getting your hips kind of used to stretching that way. And then eventually you'll be able to get down a little bit further using some assistance, using a chair if you need to. Okay, doesn't matter if your heels also reach down to the floor. We are working on ankle flexibility as well as we're in the squat position, but again, that will come in time too. So calf muscles stretching, hips are stretched, and also really good for your back. Okay, take another deep breath here. And then exhale, we're going to come up into downward facing dog. Walking it out. Right leg lifts back behind you. Inhale. Exhale, release down. Left leg back behind you. And then back down. Right leg, inhale. Now exhale, step your right foot forward and point the toes to the left side of your mat. Come into a wide-legged standing forward fold. Fold to the center. If you need to, you will be holding on to a block, resting on a block if you're not moving down so far. So you can prop yourself up. And you can have those 2 blocks too. Walk as best as you can over to the right side. Drawing your head closer to your left knee or thigh. Going over to the left side. And then coming back to center. Okay, doing one of my favorite versions of downward facing dog. That's very beginner friendly and very wrist friendly. It's just a wide-legged down dog, essentially. Keeping your feet on the mat, but walking your hands out in front of you, and then dropping your head so that your ears are in line with your arms, and then you're looking back at your legs there. So there should be very little weight in your wrists here, even though fingers are spread nice and wide. There should feel like there's just not a lot of weight in your legs as well. So it's a fairly relaxing and forgiving pose, but yet can be pretty effective as well. So if you would like to separate the feet wider to make that more intense, going into more of the lateral split, then you can do that as well. And try to keep the heels reaching down towards the floor. All right, and then going into a less forgiving, more intense position from there, and you're going to just turn the heels in here and then the toes out. We're going to walk the hands in and then start to bend the knees and bring those elbows nice and close into your inner knees. Okay, think of this as just like intense squat times 1,000 here. So you can intensify this stretch by dropping your hips down so the weight is in your arms, almost like you're trying to balance on your arms, and you will feel that tenfold. If that feeling is way too intense for you, then you can lean forward or you can lift your bum more up to release that the weight on your arms. But again, you can kind of go back and forth from putting some weight on your arms like you're going to do a funky crow or about to do firefly position. Put the weight on your arms, see how that feels. Breathe into the intensity of this stretch, and then allow the weight to take that weight off of your arms and then drop back into it. So we're just going to hang out here and just explore some movement, some shifting of weight, perhaps moving forward, maybe moving back. All right, and then we're going to release. So go ahead, straighten up the legs. We're going to gently move out of the position by turning around to the top part of the mat and stepping back into downward facing dog. So walk that out. Step your right foot forward, left knee down to the floor, and take the arms overhead. Okay, just a simple lunge, crescent lunge, and again, this just might be really intense for you to just hold the arms up overhead, and that's fine as well. You can always bring those hands down to your heart if this pose is intense for you. Take another deep breath in and exhale down. So we're going to step back into plank pose, and then we'll move down through chaturanga, lift into an up dog or a cobra. We're going to hold this position as your hips are moving into extension here, releasing down, Doing a little push-up motion, inhale, lifting up. Exhale, releasing down. So think of flowing forward, inhale, as far as you can. So maybe you are just lifting the chest a little bit above the floor and then releasing down. You can do that too. So just kind of keep flowing here. And then one more. Pressing up and then back into down dog. So tabletop, then downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, right knee down to the floor. And we'll do the crescent lunge on this side, just holding that. And then releasing down. Stepping back into plank pose. Again, moving down through chaturanga. Lift into one up dog or cobra, and then release down to the floor. Okay, so next we're going to bend it into the right knee, and just take that right knee and foot over to the side, and then switch legs. So bending into the left knee, and then you're just kind of doing this little scorpion type move, and then slowly bringing it down to the floor. Bend into the right knee. My hands are just underneath my shoulders, out to the sides from my shoulders. So I'm supporting myself. I'm kind of pressing and rolling. Getting a little bit of twist there. Don't worry if you can't touch the floor. You're just kind of moving to whatever feels good there. One more on each side. So even if you just come at that halfway point and you're good, that's fine. Okay, so back to belly, and let's press up. Walk the knees in. Just drop the forearms to the floor here, and moving forward and back into the shoulders. Stretching out the back as well. Always good to get a little bit of a release after some spinal extension there, and then releasing. Coming up to tabletop pose, spin around so that you're on your seat. Okay, so moving on to the ground from here, rolling like a ball to the top part of your mat, grab onto the backs of your knees, tuck your chin, inhale, rock back, and exhale, move forward. If you just want to do these little rocks, that's fine as well. And then coming back to your back. All right, so grab onto your right knee and let your left leg go away onto the ground. Straighten out your right leg as best as you can, holding on just to the back of your leg. If you do have your strap handy, then maybe you're using your strap. But you're just kind of focusing this practice and with as little props as possible here, so that you don't have to be bothered with props all the time, because sometimes they're just not around. But I want to make this as user-friendly as possible, trying to throw in some modifications so that it's just one less barrier, one less excuse for you to get on those hips and hamstrings. So we're just holding this. Again, your knee can be bent here, and maybe it is. Maybe if you have really tight hamstrings, your knee is kind of bent, but you are pulling with your arms, you're pulling that leg in towards your chest. Now, if your back is off the floor while you're doing this, then your left knee will be bent and your left foot flat onto the floor. And so you can try that modification, and that may offer some relief, maybe a little bit more depth into the pose as well. So try that. Re-bend, so just let it release, bend into your right knee, and then hug your knee, but also pull your head in towards your knee. So a nice big hug, and then relax that, and then send your right knee across your body over to the left. Reach your right arm out to the right, and I'm generously pushing down with my hand, my left hand, on the outer edge of my right leg, trying to increase that stretch that you should feel from your hip flexor. You'll feel that from in your IT band and into the glutes as well on your right side. Really excellent pose, and it can be held for minutes at a time here. And I'm just going to shorten everything up here tonight. We're going to come out and give it a hug, give that knee a hug, and then send it away. And then we'll go to the other side. So we're going to start by pulling the left knee in. And again, that right knee may be bent and foot to the floor. And then we're going to try and straighten the leg up. So I'm just holding right behind my hamstrings, 2 hands holding on the leg, trying to straighten the leg as best as I can. If possible, you are flexing the foot. So toes pulling towards your shin, you're pushing out through your heel, like you're trying to push it into the ceiling. But again, if that's not possible, if you have really tight hamstrings, maybe your knee isn't quite as straight, that is fine. To the right side, and then the left arm is going to reach out to the left. Really breathing into that stretch there. And then releasing from there. So coming back to center, give yourself now just a big old hug. Releasing up. Doing some windshield wipers here. So letting the knees fall to the right and then fall to the left. Breaths in and deep breaths out. Okay, and then you can rest here for a bit. I'm not going to do Shavasana for this class today, just that shorter one here. But if you would just like to end the practice, it's really good to just kind of rest for a moment and let your body absorb all those effects of your practice in your hips. You can go into reclined Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together with your knees open wide, and rest there for a bit. Or if you want to go into Shavasana, straighten the legs and let your arms come down by your side, and then focus on your deep relaxation for a few moments, and then get back into your evening or busy day ahead of you, whatever you got going on, depending on when you're watching this. So rolling or rocking over onto the right side. And making your way up to seated when you're ready from there. And then, yeah, just namaste everybody. Thanks for joining me for this shorter class. Maybe going over 20 minutes, but hey, that's okay. There's a lot to cover. I think maybe I need to do a few shorter videos because I have a lot to say with hips and hamstrings. There's a lot of variations out there, and I think I'll do the next one with straps and props specific, just to get in some deeper holds, and yeah, just trying out different things. So yeah, hope you liked it, and like this video if you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and share it if you liked it even more. Check out other videos archived on this Facebook page and as well as on Melissa Shippey YouTube channel. And yeah, that's about it. See you guys on Wednesday if you are into HIIT core yoga for some high intensity interval training. And other than that, I possibly see you next week for another Vinyasa Flow yoga on Facebook Live. Bye everybody.